Now, Tesla just exposed how broken UK EV charging really is. You see, non-Tesla drivers pay double for electricity, not because Tesla's greedy, but because everyone else's networks are unreliable disasters. And you know what? It's time the competition stepped up their game. Right, let's get into the meat of this, because if you're driving a non-Tesla EV in the UK, you've probably experienced the absolute frustration that is public charging infrastructure. We've got broken chargers again, premium pricing for basic service. Welcome to the reality of EV charging, where Tesla's success isn't about being fair, it's about being the only network that actually works consistently. But here's what's really happening behind the headlines. Tesla's network expansion isn't charity, it's market leadership, and it's exposing just how far behind the competition really is. So I'm going to break down exactly what this means for UK EV drivers, I'm going to tell you the real costs and why the pricing difference exists, and most importantly, what other charging networks need to do to actually compete. Because I've analysed the latest reliability data, pricing structures, and spoken to frustrated drivers across the UK who just want the infrastructure that actually works. But look, check this out. Here's what most people don't realise about the scale of this situation. You see, Tesla operates 1,400 superchargers across 140 sites across the UK. Now look, the competition, they've got charging points too, but there's something seriously different happening here that goes way beyond just numbers. And those 60 plus Tesla sites now open to non-Tesla drivers, they're positioned on major motorways. So we're talking M25, M40, M1, exactly where you need charging to actually work. But the real story isn't the locations. But look, before we go on, drop a comment below. Have you tried using Tesla Superchargers yet? And what was your first impression and what was your experience? So what's actually happening with the pricing that everyone's talking about? Now look, Tesla owners pay between 20 to 28 pence per kilowatt hour, depending on the time of day. And non-Tesla owners, you're looking about 30 to 40 pence per kilowatt hour without membership. Now, Tesla offers membership for $8.99 monthly that bridges this gap significantly. But you know what? Here's what I want you to think about. Why does this pricing difference exist at all? And should all EV drivers pay the same for charging regardless of what car they drive? Or is it fair that Tesla owners get rewards for investing in the Tesla ecosystem? So do me a favor and drop your comments below, because this one, it's dividing EV drivers across the country. And also, if you want to get my weekly breakdown of exactly what charging networks are reliable and which ones to avoid, including pricing updates and the new site openings, I send that out every Thursday to my newsletter subscribers. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description. It's completely free and I promise you will not get spammed. Because when you look at the charging speed, Tesla's V3 superchargers deliver up to 250 kilowatts consistently. That's 150 to 200 miles of range in 15 minutes for most EVs. And you start to see part of the picture. But look, I'm gonna be honest, speed is just one piece of this puzzle. There's a much bigger story here about what you're actually paying for. So let me share a conversation that perfectly illustrates exactly what's happening here. I got an email from Emma, who's in Leeds and who drives a Polestar 2. Excellent car, and it cost her about 45k. But here's what she told me about her charging experience. She said, I used to plan routes around charging availability and always had backup plans for when chargers failed. I arrived at charging points and find them broken or occupied or charging so slowly that a coffee break turned into a 2-hour wait. Now I just drive to a Tesla supercharger and they work every time. Yes, I pay more, but when you've been stranded at the motorway service station at 9 PM on a Sunday with a dead battery and broken chargers, you understand what you're actually paying for. And that's when it clicked for me. This isn't really about electricity pricing at all. So let me ask you a question. Have you been stranded by unreliable charging? Tell me your worst experience below and I read every single comment and I reply to every single comment. Second, also, is Tesla's premium pricing actually justified for a better service, or should government regulate all the charging networks to ensure equal pricing regardless of reliability? But you know what? Here's what Tesla's success really exposes about UK charging infrastructure and why this changes everything. You see, Tesla reports 99.9% uptime globally. And let me put that into context. That means out of every 1,000 times you arrive at a Tesla supercharger, 999 times it works perfectly. One failure in 1,000. Now compare that to industry average. Other networks struggle to maintain 90 to 95% reliability, with some experiencing regular weekend failures, maintenance and issues. But you know what? Here's the crucial insight. Tesla didn't achieve this through magic or unfair advantages. They achieved it through massive infrastructure investment and operational excellence over the past decade. And while Tesla was spending billions building reliable charging networks, competitors were building cheap installations and treating charging as an afterthought. They focused on quantity over quality and deployment over dependability. And the result? When the UK's government's £950 million rapid charging fund was scrapped in June 2025, it exposed who actually was serious about infrastructure. And Tesla continued expanding with private investment while others waited for government handouts. So when non-Tesla drivers pay premium rates for Tesla charging, they're not paying a Tesla tax, they're paying for infrastructure that actually functions when you need it the most. Right, let's get real about what this is actually costing you as a UK EV driver. So you've got Tesla the Supercharger with £8.99 monthly membership, 25 to about 30 pence per kilowatt hour. Tesla without membership is about 35 to 40 pence per kilowatt hour. Now, other rapid charging networks charge between 35 and 75 pence per kilowatt hour, depending on the provider and subscription status. But the cool thing is, home charging is anywhere between 7 to 24 pence per kilowatt hour, depending on the tariff. The Tesla membership break even. If you rapid charge more than twice monthly, it pays for itself. But here's what these numbers don't show. But the thing is, hold on, before we carry on, tell me, what do you actually pay for rapid charging? Drop your real cost below and let's see who's getting some real value. Now let's talk about what other charging operators need to do to actually compete, because this is entirely achievable. You see, Tesla didn't become the charging leader through proprietary technology or government favors. They did it through serious infrastructure investment, rigorous maintenance standards, and treating reliability as non-negotiable. And I think the playbook is right there for everyone to copy. Invest properly in infrastructure, maintain it consistently, and achieve predictable uptime and earn customer loyalty through service excellence. But look, here's the challenge. Building Tesla quality infrastructure requires significant upfront investment and ongoing operational discipline. It's much easier to build charging points and hope for government subsidies than to commit to the investment needed for true reliability. And you know what, to be honest, the path forward for competitors, I think is clear, but it requires them to stop competing on price and start competing on performance. UK EV drivers are clearly willing to pay for charging that actually works. And you know what, this brings me to my last question. Should the government set minimum reliability standards for UK charging operators? You see, Tesla achieves 99.9% uptime while some networks fail regularly. And should Ofgem regulate charging reliability like they regulate energy supply? Or should market forces continue deciding who deserves to operate charging infrastructure? Drop your answer in the comments below. Should reliability be legally required, or should bad networks just fail naturally? You see, short term, Tesla's success highlights how broken other networks are. Long term, will this motivate competitors to match Tesla's standards, or will they give up trying to compete with superior infrastructure? Do you know what? I think the answer shapes whether UK EV drivers get better charging overall, or whether Tesla remains the only reliable option. And look, here's my prediction. I think Tesla's success will force the entire industry to completely raise their game, because UK drivers have now experienced what reliable charging actually looks like, and they won't accept broken infrastructure anymore. The competition has two choices. They can either match Tesla's reliability standards or watch their customers migrate to networks that actually work. And my last question to you, will Tesla's success make other networks better or kill competition entirely? I genuinely want your prediction in the comments. And look, if this analysis helped you understand why charging reliability matters more than price in politics, two things. First, subscribe to the UK intelligence that focuses on exactly what drivers are looking for. Second, join my Thursday newsletter where I break down sometimes which charging networks are worth using each week, plus price changes and new site openings. It's completely free, and if you're interested, the link is in the description. And look, next week I'm investigating why some EV dealers are adding mysterious market adjustment fees and the legal ways to fight back. Look guys, my name's Des from the Electric Oracle. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and you really want to watch the next one.